My main time was at MGM.
Right.
And I just loved all those gals. I don't know whether Janet told you, but I gave a luncheon with Debbie Reynolds at this big Chinese restaurant here in town, and the press wasn't invited, for all the MGM ladies of our ilk. And they all came, and it was one of the most fun things I've ever attended in my life. Uh, Debbie and myself paid for it. We did it. But it was wonderful. And we had people like Ann Rutherford and Esther Williams and Margaret O'Brien and Catherine Grayson and Esther and, oh God, I can't think of them all. They were, Janet was there, Sid Charisse was there. See, there's the ladies, Debbie Reynolds. You know, we were all together and we kind of grew up together. I never went to college. So this was kind of I guess this would have been my college. This is the legacy that was left to me, and I treasured it. I treasured it because now today I get fan mail, about 50 letters a week from Germany and London. This says there's a record here that in these videos and things that the young people are seeing today that are such treasures. I never realized. I knew they were, when you did a film, that it was a record. It was better than television because it was a record being made. And today, that record stands tall. All these videos, all these lasers, they're still doing them. They just did Kiss Me Kate. They're doing it now for laser with all the beautiful color. It's all being freshened up. The soundtracks are being freshened up. Everything is fabulous. That'll make a lot of money for them. I don't get any money. None of us get any money for this. But to have been part of that legacy is so wonderful because it's an era that will never come back again. And it's a treasure. It's a true American art form.
Great, thank you.
I
Go
have
ahead.
one
No, she
more.
had one more
No,
question.
no, I mean-
When
I
the
know.
girls, when the gang used to hang out together, after you would leave work, which was lots of long hours.
Yeah.
Janet says, when we were on the lot, we were Mr. Mayer's Little Women. When we left, we weren't that.
We all had a ball.
It was
That's
a
cute.
small town then, right? It was a little town. You all knew each other, right?
Well, on the lot we did, and we'd get in the dressing rooms, and we'd all, have our champagne and everything after the shooting was over, and we'd laugh and scratch and tell funny stories, and then we'd probably go out and have dinner together or something, or we would just sit in the room and talk until the guard came and knocked on the door and said, you have to go now. We're locking up,
And you've all remained basically very good friends.
We are to this day. I just saw all these girls at the big Arts and American Movie Channel. They just did this huge luncheon. They had about 25 ladies, and they were all just like my sorority sisters.
Did you get yourselves through through hard times in your private lives? Did you help each other in that
Well,
way?
Catherine Grayson was really a very close friend of mine, and yes, we did. Catherine, myself, she's had a couple of bad marriages. I've had a couple of bad marriages. We kind of saw each other through some of it, helped each other, because we were good chums. And
But you had to survive, right? I mean, in spite, John Frankenheimer told me that when he did the Janet scene with Frank Sinatra in Manchurian Candidate, she walked on, and it was the day that Tony had split, and she looked awful.
well, of course.
And Frank said to him, "We're gonna shoot today. It'll get her mind off of it." And he said, "Well, the rear projection isn't finished for 2 days." He said, "Forget it." And he said she walked on and did that scene with Frank, and it was just, he's never seen anybody carry something off. Was there a lot of that with the women? I mean,
Oh, yes.
How did you?
Oh, yes.
How did you do that?
Always remember, people in show business, the show must go on. If your mother was in an accident, you had to go there and do your job. And if you didn't, they'd fire you. Unless you had pneumonia or something and you were, had to go to the hospital, but you just didn't let your personal life carry over into your professional. You just had to leave it outside the door. And the minute it was all over with, shooting at the end of the day, then you stepped into another realm, which was your personal life. but you just could not bring it. You couldn't bring it with you.
How did you have any energy for a personal life at all?
I didn't have too much of a personal life until, when I was under contract to Columbia, I met and married a gentleman who was a very nice guy, I thought, and it was a tragic marriage for me, and I left my career. And fortunately for me, poor Sid fell and broke her leg, and I got a chance, to audition for that part in Easter Parade, and I won it over about 15 other ladies. But I got my career back then. But then after I left MGM, I married again, and it was an unfortunate marriage. In fact, I married a couple of times after that. They didn't work out. So I just decided that I just wasn't one to be married, and I haven't been married since. But I have beaux. I go out. I have a lovely life. I'm a survivor.
You all had to be.
We're all survivors. That's right. Debbie Reynolds is a great example of being a survivor. She's got that big place up in Vegas that she's working on, and her museum up there and all. I think she's a great example of a survivor.
Is there just something key to your particular generation?
Well, I don't know. I think maybe it's just because we're still alive. And you see us.
Nobody gripes.
No, we've all been very lucky. We've had a marvelous life. There's been tragedies, but we've overcome them. You have to keep the show on the road. That's the secret of being a survivor.
That's wonderful.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. It's fun.
Absolutely.
Good.
You're great.